Hi, everyone. It's meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Warm day that is shaping up. In fact, even coastal areas are seeing west northwest winds, so that's going to keep the sea breeze out at least into this afternoon. We do have clouds, and that's going to compensate also in the other direction and holding some temperatures back, but we're already and we are not even into the midday hour yet, and we're already in the upper 70s to around or even over 80 in a few spots. So this is definitely going to be another record warm day, but it is the last of the record warm days. So let's go forward and look at what's going on as we go through the rest of the week and into the weekend. First off, we'll switch to the weather system, the broad low pressure area that's east of the Bahamas. It just continues to look very disorganized. Don't see any signs of development. There's a very broad low pressure center in here somewhere, and I'm getting less and less bullish on this. The fact that it's still hasn't really developed some kind of low level circulation is probably telling. And there is westerly shear going on. I mean, all these thunderstorms keep getting blown off to the northeast. So until that stops, conditions are supposed to be a little more favorable over the next day or so, but it's starting to run out of time because by Friday, this will be moving up the East Coast, getting absorbed by a coastal storm that's going to be developing. So why don't we take a look at the NAM model. This is the new NAM model that just came in, and you can kind of see what's going on. There's a weather system here that's coming out from the west. Now, what's happening for Thursday is, and I'll draw it in for you, there's a high up to the north. So what we're getting is a bit of a warm front that's going to be setting up to our south. And the result of that in this area is going to be an onshore flow, which makes it much cooler. That high just builds in enough to cool things down. And we see, rain that's out to the west that's going to be moving eastward. Here's that tropical system that isn't nearly as developed as it had been showing on prior runs as it moves toward the west-northwest. Now, we'll move along, because we're now into Thursday morning, and you can see most of that first shot of rain goes by to our north, and so does the warm front, by the way. We're going to see that onshore flow relax as we move into Friday. Now, what's interesting about this particular run, when we look at what's happening for Friday, is that we have this strong cold front that's going to be approaching the coastline, and we can draw it in here. And what's happening is that we're getting energy redeveloping near the coast, and this is allowing at least some rain to get enhanced for coastal areas, so that'll be a plus. So we've got this non-tropical system, we've got this low that's developing, and this is what's left of the tropical system now, or subtropical. And what's going to happen is one low is going to consolidate in this area, and this system is going to wind up getting absorbed by the non-tropical one. So it really is a non-factor, except that some of this tropical moisture is getting involved to some degree. It's probably enhancing the development. And then ultimately, what the NAM does is that you get one coastal low that develops here. This is Saturday morning. And you can see it right there, and it's actually drawing down cold air from the north, so it shows a little bit of snow in maybe some of the higher elevations in upstate New York Saturday morning, and then it gradually moves on to the northeast, and you start to see a little more snow certainly as you get into Vermont and parts of New Hampshire and upstate New York as we go into Saturday evening. The practical result for us will be that as this low intensifies, you can see it there just on the western tip of Nova Scotia, you've got strong northwest winds behind it, and that's going to bring down colder air that's going to pretty much be with us into the middle part of next week. There's probably going to be a reinforcing surge with this. Now, I want to go back to the European model from last night because it was rather interesting to see the European do this. And now you guys can't see the in-between runs. And you also can't see the precipitation because that's all licensed stuff that you have to pay for, and you're not allowed to re-show it. But kind of has the same idea here as the NAM does. This is Friday night, and you've got low developing in southern New Jersey. So you just kind of tries to wrap it up all into one. So eventually what will happen is one of these non-tropical low centers will take over. You've got cold air drawn in behind it. There's moisture coming in from off the Atlantic. So here's the subtropical system, or whatever you want to call it, getting gradually absorbed, and it makes for a fairly intense storm up in New Hampshire. There you see it, and this is going to drive northwest winds. This is Saturday night. Now the thing I found interesting is that, you know, on the in-between maps, the low is down closer to the coast, and it winds up keeping much of the area from southern New England and even down into western New Jersey eastward in rain for much of Saturday. So it's a little more bullish in terms of the rainfall that it squeezes out of this. It gives every bit of a couple of inches of rain. So kind of hoping that happens to ease the drought situation. And I know somebody posted about the fact that, you know, that they took issue with the fact that I use that term. You know, I'm a member of the community too. I live on Long Island. I'm seeing lakes dry, ponds dry. I fish. You know, I'm expressing an emotion that most people in my community are expressing. If you have a problem with this, I'm sorry, but that's too bad. So anyway, let's look at the upper air for the European. Let's see if this is going to play out, which we're not sure of. It has a much sharper trough, and you can see it right there. Strong northerly winds behind it, strong southerly winds ahead of it. Your tropical support is way out here, so that's why it's not really getting involved. It's kind of too little too late. And then it moves on to the northeast. Just real fast, and then we'll call it a day. I'm going to go back to the NAM model, and let me see if I can get southeastern Canada, because I know some of you people that are on here up in the Canadian Maritime, so you will be interested in this. You know, it does. The NAM's view is kind of on the edge, so it's a little difficult to look at it on this one. I have to really look at it on one of the global models because it kind of cuts off the eastern part of Newfoundland, but I can use my imagination in this. I mean, it does have some rain and a little bit of wind here, but the surface low is actually going to go by to your west. So we don't have a time frame to go out far enough. I imagine that you'll get some decent amount of rain out of this and maybe a little bit of wind, but much of the gradient, if you look at where the pressure gradient is, much of the pressure gradient is up in here, and it does produce quite a bit of snow back up in that particular area. So I'll tonight, when I get home from work, I will post and use the global models. And in fact, you know what? I can real quick. We'll switch to the we'll switch over to the GFS real quick, because that'll be, I can be able to see more on that. And this is the old GFS run from a few hours ago, so you can see where the surface low goes. Much of the gradient is actually north and west of Newfoundland, and you know, you might get cold enough for a little bit of snow as we move into next week, as another low forms to your south, but we'll see. Okay, so everybody have a great day. Don't forget meteorologist joechaffee.com, weatherlongisland.com, nycweathernow.com, and ssstormchasers.com.